I thought I'd make a video about our trip to not Lake Havasu, it's Havasu Falls in the Grand Canyon, Arizona. It's in the Havasupai Indian Reservation. And there's Havasu Falls, Mooney Falls, Beaver Falls, and a bunch of other waterfalls. And it's a place where you need to get a permit way in advance. There are ways to get a permit with quicker. You just wait for a cancellation. You can go on their website, I think 8 in the morning, and try to snag up a cancellation spot, which is what we did. We were able to get a cancellation and go the next week. So it worked great for our group. There were 6 of us. So yeah, just wanted to share some insight because we watched a lot of YouTube videos about going out there and how it all worked, but I felt like after the trip, there's a lot of things I wish I knew, so I thought I'd share. First of all, you don't really need to bring any food if you're backpacking in. There's a store in the village that you can buy all your food at. So pretty much you can save about 10, 15, 20 pounds of weight each person from carrying all this food into town from the parking lot. It's about a 11-mile hike, maybe a little more. So yeah, just keep that in mind that the store is there. The food is pretty affordable, and yeah, you really don't need to bring a whole lot of food, maybe just some snacks for your hike. So that'll save you a ton of weight. They have frozen meat there. They have all kind of food. I mean, it's like a little store. It's like a little mini grocery store. There's vegetables, there's fruit. And if you're going for, 3 nights, you really don't need to bring a whole lot. You can totally survive, and especially you can go get the fry bread every evening if you wanted to. It's like a 5-minute hike from the campground, and it's delicious. So that's another way to pack less food in if you wanted to do that. So I would recommend, don't bring any food, just maybe a few snacks for your hike. And also, you don't need to bring water to hike all the way to the campground. You can just bring water to hike to the village. There's a bathroom there. You can fill up water bottles, or a restaurant, they'll fill it up for you. So that'll save you some weight. Hiking out of the campground to the village, you don't need to bring a ton of water because you can fill up there. So that's another trick. There is a helicopter that can take you in and out. I think it's $100 a person plus $50 per bag each way. And there's no reservations. You just show up and kind of get in line. But you might need to wait multiple hours, maybe even 4 or 5 hours, because sounds like there are other people that have priority, like villagers and anyone with medical conditions, stuff like that. But honestly, if you're in decent health, you can do the hike. It's not that bad. You just take your time and do it. There's plenty of spots you can take a rest. It is grueling if you're carrying a lot of weight, so I would say bring very little stuff. So first of all, when you hike down there, there is a little, I forget what it's called. There's like a little office, right, where the camp manager stays, or whoever they are, the ranger. It's like a little ranger building when you first get into camp. And a ton of people leave camping gear there. So there's like sleeping bags, tents, sleeping mats, cooking supplies, tons of different little propane tanks. Pretty much you can actually just show up there with nothing, and you might be able to find everything you need to camp. If you're in a big group, maybe it's not worth, taking that risk. But if you're like a small group, 2 people, I think it'd be totally fine. I actually brought a very tiny sleeping bag. It's like weighs 1.5 pounds. It's really small. And I was actually totally comfortable with that. The other guys in my group brought larger sleeping bags. Totally unnecessary. It was definitely not cold at night. And I was totally fine with that sleeping bag. Even one night I didn't even need it. I just kind of slept with it open. So yeah, just keep that in mind. We went, a week ago, so it's end of May 2023. The weather was great. It was a little bit cold for swimming because one of the days it was cloudy. So, it was definitely um, a little bit cold. And I was trying to get a tan. I was trying to go swimming, but there wasn't much sun. So if I would go back in the future, I would say go in the summertime when it's hot. You really want to go, swimming when it's hot, right? So that's the whole point of going there, is to enjoy the waterfalls, enjoy the water. And if it's really hot, you'll really enjoy going in the water. So if I go back again, I'm going to go when it's hot. I don't mind the heat. I mean, yeah, during the hike, it might not be the best, but you can soak your shirt in water. You could, you can definitely keep cool if you want, especially now that you know the trick that you don't need to bring a lot of stuff. So, yeah, when you get down there, like I said, first of all the people leaving, they're hiking out with all this gear. You could totally barter with them or offer to buy whatever gear they have. A lot of people don't want to carry all this stuff out because, you've been there for 3 nights. You've been hiking there, going on these adventures. The last thing you want to do is carry like 50, 60 pounds of weight 13 miles back to the parking lot from the campground uphill. So people are totally willing to trade, barter, sell stuff. And when you get down there, if you don't have something, there's 300 other campers. You can go get fuel for your stove. You can borrow a stove. I mean, we were able to ask people for stuff, and they were more than happy to let us borrow it. We were also sharing things with other people, so that's something to keep in mind that you can totally do when you get down there. Another thing, you don't need hiking boots. I would not bring hiking boots on this trip. All you need are a decent pair of sneakers. I can show you mine right there on the floor. Those are the ones I brought. Those actually work perfect. They're just Nike sneakers with decent support. The reason why you should just bring sneakers and not hiking boots is because when you get down there, you have to go across a lot of different waterways to get to the between waterfalls. So if you have hiking boots on, you can't really put those in water, right? They're made of leather, and you can't really dunk them in water. You have to take your shoes off every time you're crossing. It'll be a total pain. So just bring sneakers like that that you'll be comfortable in. The hike isn't that crazy. As long as you're careful not to sprain your ankle, you'll be fine with sneakers like that. And I would suggest bring a pair of very cheap flip-flops to walk around camping, or you don't even need flip-flops. Honestly, if you just wear your sneakers, you can bring them in the water. When you go swimming by the waterfalls, you kind of need shoes, either water shoes or these, but I would just bring sneakers that you can wear in the water and go hiking in. And then at night, you just hang them up and they'll dry. Or if you're walking around camp, I actually enjoyed just walking barefoot. There's a lot of nice soft trails, but sandy trails. You're totally cool walking barefoot. But if you want to have flip-flops, you can bring those. I brought them. I didn't really need them. I barely used them, honestly. So just bring a nice pair of sneakers, maybe a junky pair of sneakers. But yeah, you don't need hiking boots to go down to Havasu, in my opinion. I would not bring any. And also, they're very heavy, so it's kind of counterproductive. I would suggest just bring a pair of shoes like that. Yeah, food-wise, like I said, you can go to the village. Also, people leave a ton of food at the ranger station, like all this dried packaged food that they don't use when they're leaving camp. You can totally just go get some food over there. People leave canned goods, hiking poles. There's so much stuff that people leave that you can just go grab and borrow, and you can just leave it back there if you want, or you can take it when you're done. It's kind of like a free-for-all pretty much. But yeah, as for bugs, there weren't really any bugs. You don't really need bug spray, in my opinion. Toiletries, yeah, you're gonna want to bring your own toiletries. There was almost no toilet paper at this place. There's a bunch of bathrooms. There's a couple that had toilet paper, others didn't. So yeah, just keep that in mind. You might want to figure out a way to tackle that problem. Maybe bring a roll of toilet paper for yourself. It's pretty lightweight, and just so you have some, because yeah, it's you can probably buy it once again at that little store, but just keep in mind in the campground, they don't really stock it with toilet paper. So it's a couple of them did have toilet paper, but we have to walk. The one near our campsite didn't. Another thing, when you get there, if you get there like in the afternoon, a lot of the good campsites are gonna be taken, but you could just keep walking, walk all the way to the end, almost to Mooney Falls at the end. You can cross the little creek, and once you get to the other side, there's a ton of other campsites people don't even see, because you actually have to get on the other side and then walk along the other side. And I noticed that a lot of people, they kind of take really bad camping sites because they don't even know about those other ones. So when you get down there, cross the river and hike up and down, all the way up and down, you'll find a bunch of other campsites that, you know, are hidden, and they're actually quite nice. They're quiet, and they're right along the little creek, and then you get a beautiful view of the aqua blue water. It's amazing. The water is pretty warm. I would recommend maybe, you know, bring some sunblock if you're worried about getting a sunburn. We didn't bring any. I brought like a long white t-shirt that I just swam in and hiked in, and it has a long sleeve. I cut open the armpits to get some airflow because it was pretty hot walking with that shirt. But yeah, something like that would probably be even better than sunblock. So you know, if you sweat, it's all going to come off anyways. So a shirt like that would be great for the trip. And then yeah, you really only need like maybe 1 or 2 pairs of shorts, and then I had long pants. I think I wore them once, so you don't need long pants. Maybe 2 t-shirts. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And yeah, water-wise, I would say you need a gallon of water between the parking lot and the village each way. 1 gallon per person. You don't need more than that. If you bring more than that, you're just carrying extra weight. You can actually get by with probably half of that, but you know, if it's really hot, definitely bring a gallon. I would say 1 gallon should be about the minimum. So what else can I share about this whole place? Oh, so if you don't have a permit and you want to go check out this place, you can pretty much just drive in, I would say, anytime. Maybe not in the, you know, morning or early afternoon, but you can pretty much just drive in, park at the parking lot, and walk in. The campsite, there's no one checking wristbands. There's no one checking anything at all. And I didn't even put on my wristband. They gave us a wristband when we checked in up at the main check-in spot before you even drive into the reservation. And I never even put it on. I put it in my wallet. I didn't want to have like a little tan line on my arm, on my wrist, so I never wore it. They never checked. They never come to the campsite to check if you're, you know, have your permit or anything. So there's zero people checking anything at all. The only spot where they check is when you're driving into the reservation. There's a person that stops you on the road to see your papers. But if you drove in at night or something like that, there's not gonna be anyone there. You can totally just drive in, park, and hike down. And actually, if you did that and got there in the morning, you'd have the best pick of all the best campsites, because about 100 campers are leaving every morning because they rotate the permits, I guess. So I'm not saying do that. I'm just saying, you know, if you can't get a permit, you really want to go, you could just pretty much just drive in and park and then hike down. No one checks anything. So yeah, that's one idea. Yeah, as for the Mooney Fall descent, that's something a lot of people are concerned about. You know, all you really need is like your shoes. You don't need gloves. It's going to be wet. It's going to be scary. You're going to be going down this like cliff. You're not going to know where to put your feet. But yeah, the second and third time you do it, it's not scary at all. I mean, it's always a little scary, but you know, just keep 3 points of contact at all times. At least one hand on the cable, 2 feet, or 2 feet, or 2 hands, 1 foot. And yeah, you'll be fine. Just take it nice and slow, and yeah, you'll be cool. Other tips I can think of, I mean, we brought like a slack line to put across the river, which we used. It was fine. However, yeah, extra weight. My brother bought a huge Stove, unnecessary, too much weight. Just buy one of those little, actually my recommendation, buy one of those tiny little stove pieces that you get on Amazon. They're like $10. You just screw it onto the top of a propane tank or those other type of tank, butane tanks. And it's so tiny, it weighs almost nothing. And there's gonna be a ton of those extra tanks down there at the station, the ranger station. So just, if you have that when you get there, you could just screw in a tank and, cook your food that way. I don't know if I saw any extra pots or anything there, but if you have a very thin, like metal stove type of thing, it'll be fine. You can bring things like instant coffee, whatever, stuff like that. But yeah, like I said, you can get all your food at the store. So yeah, other things you might want to bring is like a cowboy hat. Hat like this might not provide enough sun protection, so I brought like a cowboy hat for my hike made of straw. I would recommend straw hat over like a cloth one, or like whatever those other type of hats that they sell for hiking. It just gives you a lot more breathability around your head, and just worked great for me. So definitely bring one of those. Pair of sunglasses would be good. And yeah, just I would suggest bring the minimum. When you get there, there's tons of stuff left at that little ranger station, so take advantage of that. And yeah, if you have any questions about going to Havasu Falls or the Havasu Pai Indian Reservation, definitely hit me up. I spent 4 or 5 days there, so have a pretty good idea of how it works, and can definitely help you out with any more tips you might want. So have a good one, guys.